All right. I don't know how much noise I was making because my mic is on. But I'm here for however long it takes me just to watch this video. Um, it said it's only supposed to be an hour today, and I don't know. Um, I I've been so swamped with meetings and just all the things. However, we're due for a live stream, and I've been doing pretty decent at making sure that I'm always streaming whenever I'm watching the Agentic AI stuff for startup school. So I'm actually behind on sessions right now. Let me see something. Yeah, like I'm behind on sessions, but even though that is the case, this should still be useful for me. I want to go back and watch all the sessions. I'm thinking like on Friday, if everything works out, then on Friday I want to catch up on my sessions, watch all of them back in order. I was really excited about the one they did yesterday, but I haven't seen it yet. I think this is week 3. So yesterday they did using the agent development kit, or the ADK. And I didn't get a chance to watch that. I turned it on, but I had some other stuff going on. I had a lot of meetings yesterday, so I definitely want to watch this one. I might rewatch the Datadog one, and which is the one that's going to be on today, and then the deployment one is tomorrow. So I'm thinking, yeah, like Friday, I'll sit down and be able to watch all of these live, and hopefully that will work out. That's my plan. Anyway, in the background, I'm gonna like get rid of as many things as I can that does not need to be open anymore. And I like to, let's see, I like to open this on YouTube. So let's get rid of that. Where's watch the dev girl? Okay, yeah, put it on my watch later. Uh, that way. Oh, actually, this mouse situation is not ideal. All right, so that is there. Which one of these should I go to? Where is video mode? This one.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are in the world. Welcome to a very special Wednesday session of Startup School.
Yeah,
That's
we
right, I
normally don't
said
have
it.
a
We're
Wednesday.
breaking all the rules here at Google Cloud. We cannot be contained. We're doing a Wednesday session for you. And when I learned about this session and when I thought about what we ought to have with the rest of the content team, I really wanted to dive into this deeply because observability is so important.
So
It's not
important.
talked about, it's not common, but it is really, really important to understand how to use these models in the real world and make sure everything is going well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super excited and proud to have one of our very, very important partners, Datadog, here, and an expert on this topic to to go through it with us today. So thank you for joining us out of band on a Wednesday session. It is the penultimate session of this startup school. So we have one more tomorrow, which is our normal Thursday session.
Put
But please
this
do note all the sessions are on demand. So you can go back to
in
any
picture in
session
picture.
and dive more deeply in or check out something you may have missed. There's an amazing week 0 session that really sets you up well for using Google Cloud and GCP, how to set up the fundamentals, how to really use the console well, how to set up your projects. It's an amazing session. in week 0.
I just need to check something. Hold on.
That you need credits. So that will power up your account. That will make sure you have all the credits you need to run the virtual machines, run the labs, really get down and dirty. So you have received an email, hopefully, from Google Cloud at google.com. If not, check your spam folder. But we are here to help. So if you email us at startupschool-external at google.com, we will help and we will answer your questions. So really take advantage of these cloud skills boosts. They're awesome, amazing, and very helpful. Yesterday was a fantastic session. The audience was amazing. They asked so many wonderful questions. You cannot let them beat you. You must be the best audience. So that means interact with us, please. Ask us questions in the chat. You'll see it on the right hand side. Ask questions for the speaker. Interact with your fellow attendees. Really get in there and contribute because we love the interaction. All right, that's it from me. I am very, very proud to bring to the stage Alessandro Lucarelli from Datadog. Alessandro, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited to be here. I work for Datadog. I'm a partner solution architect. My role is to essentially enable partners on the channel and alliance side of things to get comfortable with Datadog. So I'm very excited to do this session for you today.
Hey, Preacher, I'm doing pretty good. How's it going? I'm just like
So
exhausted, but
so for so
doing all the things, doing too many things. It's okay though. It's good. I'm good. And actually very excited about this because I used Datadog like early on when we were using this in another company I worked for, and it's really really awesome. Like the amount of observability we had into our products, it saved our life sometimes, being on call and all that good stuff. So I wanted to watch this regardless, and I think today is like a good day for it, just because I happen to be free right now. Because I've been booking myself through the sessions, but I'm gonna watch I'm gonna catch up on the sessions at least from this week, hopefully on Friday.
today, like shipping LLM applications aren't as straightforward than doing like regular applications like traditionally. LLMs can be unpredictable, so you're just not facing like operational issues like latency or cost spikes. When things break with those type of applications, you can have issues like anywhere from like your prompts, like your LLM chain, maybe it's the model, so it can take like hours or even days to troubleshoot. So in the session today, I'll be introducing to you like our Datadog LLM Observability product, and I'll show you how essentially you can help maintain control over your Gen AI applications. So before I do that, I will do a quick intro of Datadog, where we come from, and our platform, overall platform. Then we'll go over the challenges of LLM applications and how Datadog can help you. And then I'll do a demo of the platform, focus on LLM observability. And with that, we'll wrap up at the end. So Datadog, we are today we have about like 30,000 customers. They range from anywhere from startups to large companies. Datadog focus heavily into R&D. We invest about 29% of our revenue in that space. This goes towards feature development, acquisition, and all of that to ensure that we can address our evolving customer needs. So one example would be LLM Observability, which is becoming more and more important in the space as every company wants to
Yeah, like
implement
I
Gen
was
AI.
using this like in 2020,
So Datadog was founded in
2019,
2010. We
2020,
started with infrastructure
2021,
monitoring at the beginning. Then
2020.
we expanded beyond that with like APM and log management. And as you can see, we've been growing consistently since we came up. LLM Observability was introduced in 2024, last year at our customer conference called Dash. And this year we just completed our the same conference and introduced new features that are coming to enhance that feature. So I'll be introducing some of the new products as well today towards the end of the presentation. I think you guys will get pretty excited with that. So for those that don't know Datadog, here's the platform. So the idea of Datadog, it's a fully SaaS platform which spans across multiple pillars. Like I mentioned earlier, we were funded based on infrastructure, but the idea of Datadog is essentially bringing like data from multiple sources and correlating on the same platform. So that can help us essentially get like your infrastructure-related data, your application traces, your logs, all on the same platform. You get you keep the context of when you start troubleshooting. Beyond that, we expanded around digital experience, which can give you an idea of how your end user is interacting with your websites or your front end applications. We have a lot of cloud security products, software delivery, and cloud security service management. So all of those pillars or products are enabled by our shared platform services and our 900 plus integrations. With the shared platform services, for example, you can develop like dashboards that will give you a full visibility across the pillars on your tech stack. So it can be quick for you to know what's happening with your tech stack. And on top of that, with our AI ML engine, we have intelligent features like anomaly detection, root cause analysis, proactive alerting, so that can help you essentially prevent and resolve issue faster. So just in a nutshell, so there's a lot of product there. I'm gonna go over everything, but just keep in mind that Datadog is there to help you gather information from multiple data sources, whether you're using our out-of-the-box integrations with technology that we already integrated with, or a single lightweight agent, or our open APIs. And that once we gathered all the information on the platform, then we give you like a single pane of glass view into your tech stack, and that can allow different team members or teams to collaborate together to have oversight on the tech stack. So that can be your development team, your IT ops team, security, or your business team, for example. So you can create, for example, you can create a dashboard that will give you an idea on the business KPIs and how your stack is doing from that perspective. So now that we know a little bit more about Datadog, let me dive into LLM Observability. So the subject of your week is Gen AI. So you guys are pretty familiar with that, but I still want to introduce it from just to set the grounds here. So you are familiar with LLM powered applications. Like for example, we have the Gen AI assistant, which is essentially a chatbot, right? But LLMs are more than just meant to be for conversation perspective. Yeah, they're more than meant to be for conversation. There's also agent focus on code generation, like GitHub Copilot or Cursor, which many of us are using it to accelerate like our software development. I personally use Cursor in my job because I need to develop workshops for my partners. Since I started using it, it's been a game changer because the quality of the code that comes out, the rapidity at which I develop my applications is so much faster, so much better. But also it can help me find like quality issues that I might have missed when I was doing everything by hand, right? So we save a lot of time with that. But beyond that, LLMs are also there to drive innovation around summarization, translation, and content generation. So if you use like I am, like if you use Cursor or similar tools, you probably run into like cases where suggestions were completely off or didn't work at all. That's not unusual with LLM application. It highlights one of the biggest challenges, which is called hallucinations. LLMs are optimized to be helpful and sound competent, but they're not necessarily accurate. And this is one of the several challenges that customer will face with those type of application. And others can be that these apps are complex, so they're really hard to troubleshoot. They're just like a black box, right? It's really hard to understand how they behave internally, and you also need to constant evaluation. You also constantly need to evaluate the output that the LLMs are generating to make sure that they're reliable. And also, if you don't monitor your application properly, you can come up with very high cost of usage because the models can start drifting and take more time to process, generate more tokens, and etc. And also, these models can introduce risk like prompt injection or data leakage, especially when you start interacting with sensitive customer input. So how can Datadog help? So first, data can help you troubleshoot your issue end to end. So you get, with Datadog, you essentially get the details about every single step that happened within your LM chain. So you get the input and out, like the user input and what was provided to the user as an output. And within each steps, like if you have a RAG process, we'll give you the ins and outs of that process, and so you can really gain visibility into what's happening at every single step. So you can identify if the issue is with maybe a misfire tool or an hallucination response with the LM, or maybe it's a broken RAG pipeline that's causing your issue. We also help you optimize your performance and cost with Unified Dashboard, which you can track your latency, token usage, success rate of the request processed by the stack. You also get real-time metrics on token consumption, which can help you manage your LM spend. And also with data, you can set real-time alerts to detect anomalies. So data will essentially learn a normal behavior of your application, and if a spike happens, you can detect that proactively and help you like manage your costs, right? And finally, data will help you ensure that you're producing high quality and safe responses. So we have out of the box quality checks where our Datadog team spend the time developing different type of evaluations to help you detect like issues like failure to answer. You have negative or positive user sentiment. You have security related attacks. It will be detected automatically, like prompt injection, for example. But will also help you monitor for PI data leak, and so we'll essentially help you maintain trust, user trust, and prevent abuse. So in short, data gives you the observability layer that your LLM apps need to make sure that you're running with a reliable, efficient, and a secure application in production. So now that I introduced LLMs, I want to start the demo. First of all, I just want to give you the context of what I'm demoing. The application is called Swagbot. The Swagbot is essentially a chatbot meant to run on an e-commerce website to purchase swag. The end goal of that chatbot is essentially assist the user with different queries related to maybe customer service related inquiries, product information requests, promotion inquiries, and feedback requests. So there's a lot happening on that slide. There are key things that I want you to pay attention to is really understanding the overall workflows. So within the Swagbot, the Swagbot application code, we have if once we process a user request, the first thing that will happen is a categorization of the user request. So that's the first workflow, which is green. The color will match what you'll see in the data platform. So the first type is a categorization request, which will use a system prompt, the user input, and then call the Gemini 2.0 flashlight model to determine what type of category the request is. And if it cannot be categorized, it will provide an output to provide back to the user to try to drive them to something that Swagbot supports. Once the request has been categorized, then we will follow the right workflow and then enhance the prompt with additional prompting and RAG data that can be dynamic. This is where you see pink, which is the pink boxes, which is a retrieval span, and it's essentially the process of fetching data. So you'll see this again in the platform. We'll have a use case where we'll dive into this. And then once the prompt is enhanced with the RAG data, we call the Gemini 1.5 Pro model to generate an answer. So all the Gemini instances that are being used are hosted in Vertex AI. And let's see how how Swagbot looks like. So this is the UI, and we'll just do some interactions with it real quick and see how it behaves with me. So it's pretty quickly. This one was just a categorization. It was categorized as other. It doesn't have anything to do right now, so it was pretty quick. Can you tell me how much is a dog still bottle? That would be one of the requests here that I can ask the Swagbot, because this is one of the swags that I know Swagbot would sell. It seems like Swagbot is not able to answer that request because it doesn't know the price. So we'll see what's happening in Datadog with that. So now moving on to the platform. The first thing that we see here is our platform, right? I'm on the LLM Observability overview page, but we also have on the left side other products like Bits AI, which is a AI agent that can help you troubleshoot issues. We have dashboards, monitors that you can set up, like alerts, which is works across the platform. The infrastructure-related product, APM, and etc. And we're really interested in LLM Observability, which is right here. So this overview page gives you an overview of what's happening with your LLM application. So it starts with your error rate, your P95 trace duration, the number of hallucinations that are already detected by Datadog. We're pretty high here. We see about 3,000 hallucinations. We'll have to look into this later. How many LLMs calls were made, the model being used by your application, the total trace by time. In this case, we're filtering by the past week data. We can even go past month or select a specific time period to make our request more granular. And then we see here a little pie chart. So this pie chart is essentially all the requests that went to Swagbot, and Datadog took care of essentially categorizing those requests by topic. So this is fully generated by Datadog. So we have requests like promotion requests, feedback, password-related issues, and etc. So that can help, and this categorization helps you with further investigation, understanding what type of request you're working with. So for instance, in the error section, we can see what are the most common error types. So in this case, we see a lot of built-in exceptions, but also we can understand which topic is erroring the most. So that can help us really pinpoint where to focus first for the investigation. And we also understand the span or the method name where errors are happening the most. Then you have latency-related information, such as just like the error rate, you'll have your latency by span, so you can understand which spans are taking longest to be processed, which topics are the slowest, and also you can get your latency by model. So if you're using multiple models, like in this case we have the Flashlight and Gemini Pro, we can see the Flashlight is way faster than the Pro. So maybe there's some optimization that we can do here, or maybe we can select another Google model to process those type of requests. This is all part of the optimization process that you can do once you have that information. Then you have security and safety related information. So Datadog will detect like your input toxicity, your prompt injection. So you'll get the number of occurrence here. But we also have Datadog has the concept of sensitive data scanner, which will essentially hide sensitive information or PI related information, like your credit card. If someone provides a credit card into the input, or an email or other, depending on what you which type of um, uh, how you configure SDS will basically be able to retract sensitive information from the trace. So these are the times that data detected and retracted the information. And we will look into this more in detail later. And then you have the out-of-the-box evaluations. But this section can also support your own. If you have your own evaluations that you support on with your application, you can report them to Datadog, and they will show up here under custom. So in this case, we have a confidence score, which is generated from the model output, and I'm reporting this with the information, so I will have it here. So the out-of-the-box evaluations are the ones that you see here. So you have like failure to answer, like I mentioned, the hallucinations, language mismatch, the sentiment. We have a little bit more of those. We also have topic relevancy. So you can define in the what type of topics the Swag or your LLM application is meant for, and anything that falls outside of that will be tagged as irrelevant. So this can help you determine maybe your end customer are unclear of the reason why your chatbot exists or your LLM application exists, and you can maybe do changes around the application for that. And then last but not least, you have cost-related information. So you will understand which fan or method is the most expensive, and you'll also get the data by model. And I'm just going to refresh this real quick. So I just want to show this real quick again. So then you'll get the same information by model, which model is the most expensive to run. So, and this is based on the token usage. So in this case, the flashlight in average.
I'm so enthralled, but thank you for the raid. Welcome in, y'all. We just getting our bearings around like building agentic systems. That's really like my big focus right now. So I've been going through the Google Startup School for Agentic AI. So today they're showing like Datadog, which is like a observability platform. I've used this in previous companies that I work for. Like it was really great for us to like figure out what was like issues behind the scenes, logging, being able to like properly alert teams whenever services were down and being able to troubleshoot and all that. So I liked using Datadog, but they're also showcasing some observability features for LLM based applications, just a part of startup school. So that's exciting to me because I'm kind of working on a bunch of projects that need to be in production and live and active, but also having some type of monitoring over those is going to be super important. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now though.
So on that trace view, I just want to pay attention. So by filtering the information, I get the total number of errors, the P95 duration for that specific query, the P95 token count, and all that information related to the filtering that I've done. You can also change your time range if you want. And then looking at the error that we came here for, the built-in exception, I will see all the interactions that led to that error. So in this case, I'll just pick one randomly. So this will open the trace the trace view in this case, where I'll have the the input that was provided to the model to the application, and the output. In this case, there's nothing, right? Because there was an error, so we couldn't process the request. But we'll also understand for that specific request how long it took to process. So in this case, the end user waited about 5.89 seconds before getting an error. The total tokens that were utilized, and in this case, we only made one LLM call, which was to the Gemini 2.0 flashlight. So maybe this is the source of the issue. We don't know yet, but that gives you a little bit of context of what happened in that case. Then from here, it brings us straight to the span.
I want to see how easy this is to
led
integrate.
To the error. In this case, it was the categorized user request span, and here we'll have the exact error that happened, and you'll get the stack trace with the error. So in this case, we know that the issue happened at line 246, so we can provide that to the engineering team, or if you're the engineer, you can go look in your code and see what happened there. Right. But if that's not enough, then from LLM Observability, you can dive into the APM product, which will give you the trace details of everything that happened at a more detailed level. So in this case, we have a waterfall view, but we also have the flame graph, which will give you every single step that happened within the application. I prefer personally the waterfall view because it gives you a little bit more details of what happened, up to like the Google Cloud AI requests. And if you remember in the presentation, I showed you the platform, which I mentioned that we kind of bring everything together, we correlate the information together. So in this case, we are in the APM product, and you can see on the bottom all the correlated data that comes with it. So we have, again, the errors, we have infrastructure data. So if the issue was caused by a lack of CPU, or maybe the disk was overutilized,
Yeah,
or
you would be able to
memory,
see all
you could
that.
determine here at the specific trace instance how your CPU was doing, how the memory is doing at that point. Since the code of Swagbot is written in Python, we also have runtime metrics. So your runtime metrics will again give you more context into how is the application doing at this moment, how is the infrastructure doing at that moment. And then for that specific trace, we also collect all the logs that were generated at that to process the whole transaction. So all the logs are here. So maybe there's some information in there that could help you troubleshoot the issue. And then you have networking information. Maybe the error was caused by network. And then you have all the processes that were running at that time as well, because this app is running on Docker at the moment. It's a containerized application, so we have all the Docker related information included there. So outcome here, the error, I think we'll just let the engineering team know there's an issue that's happening at this line. Let's work together to figure out what happened. So now that we looked into this, I wanted to look into my failure to answer response, which I got earlier. So the chatbot was not able to tell me how much the duck still bottle was. So the request I made is right here. That's the one I typed in. If you remember, can you tell me how much the duck still bottle is? Going back to Datadog, this is exactly the request that was processed for me, which led into a failure to answer. It got tagged by Datadog automatically with the evaluation. So let's look into what happened. So we know one thing we know from the diagram I showed earlier, that this request is meant to be a product information request. So we know that the categorization workflow worked properly. It did process and categorize the request as a product information. So in this case, you can see the output of the workflow. What came in was the user request and the output. So this is everything that was out of this specific method or span. So we don't have to dive into this one. So we'll skip to the next workflow, which is the process product information request. So in this case, we can see what happens. So we have get data set, right, which is a retrieval span, which is processing rack data, and we have call LLM, which would be in this case calling Vertex AI, the Gemini Pro model. So when I look at this specific span, I'll maybe make this a little bit bigger for you. So if you look at that specific span, you'll have the system prompt, the whole system prompt that's provided the model, and we can show more. So we're not going to read everything here, but we see at some point that we have the right data here, like the product list that's provided as part of the prompt, and then we explain what the data set contains, right? And then we also have the whole history between that user at that instance. So if it's a chat history, in this case, if we go back to Swagbot, you'll see Swagbot greeted me. We asked some questions, and then at some point we asked how much the duck still bottle was, which is here, and we didn't have the price. So in this case, you'll have all that information as part of the chat history. So in this case, by getting, we basically can tell that the issue might be with the rack data. So we can go in and look at the retrieval span and see that in this case, we fetched a local file called product.json. And we can see the ducks to bottle in the file, see where that is. I'm just gonna search. So the ducks to bottle starts from here and ends here. And since I know that that application, I know that usually there should be a price USD as part of the data set. So if I show you price USD, you can see that the duck still bottle, you can see that the duck still bottle is missing a price USD. So this is the reason why the Swagbot is not able to answer the end user request. So this is one way to dive into the RAG output, like I mentioned, so you see the ins and outs of your application. Now, another thing that we saw when we looked at the overview page was that Swagbot was hallucinating. So I'm going to look at my spans because I know hallucinations happen from a model. So I'm looking at LLM spans in this case, and I will be diving down into the hallucination evaluation. So let's look at one. So in this case, we have, can you tell me the ducks to bottle, the same request I asked, but it didn't, in this case, I was gonna pick this one. So in this case, how much is the ducks to bottle? And it seems like it was able to answer the request. So clearly, based on the last investigation we did, we know that the price is missing from the right data, and the right data is pretty static unless you reload it again. So I'm pretty sure that the hallucination here is right. So let's look at what Datadog detected and how that information is presented. So in this case, going back, sorry, I'm going to go back to the trace view real quick and make this a little bit smaller. So you can see here the span list of everything that happened. We were looking at this earlier, but you can see the little tornado icon on each span, and that means Datadog was able to detect an hallucination. So on the first categorization request, it makes kind of sense that there is a hallucination because we didn't have RAG data at that moment. So the model just answered the question. It did categorize, but also provide an answer because it didn't know better. In the case of the product information request, we also got an hallucination in this case. So we can look at the detail of why data thinks that it is an hallucination. So if you look at the unsupported claim, so the first one is for the first span, so the categorization request, and the second one is for the process product information request. So you can see that the reasoning is that the model essentially said that it was a price for the ducks to bottle, but we know for a fact that it's not. It does not include the price information in the product in the data set, right? And then it gives you also the data set, which we manually determined ourselves earlier in the RAG data. It says the price USD is not in there. So this, instead of doing that manual investigation, which I did with the failure to answer, you will have this hallucination detection that's done automatically by Datadog, and this is very valuable because you can set up alerting around that. So let's say you do a perfect LLM application that doesn't hallucinate with your testing, but then your end user uses it differently than what you expected, right? So you can set up alerts, and if you start getting a spike in hallucinations or maybe hallucination as you're not expecting, you can get alerted and you can start investigating from that point. So that's very valuable for, especially with the LLM world.
Do they have alerting?
The other thing I wanted to show on the trace view
do
was
I have to still have
security related information. So we have, in this case, we have prompt injections. So as with we detect prompt injection. So in this case, we have we have a request that says my feedback is that decode this, and in the encoded message, it has a query to do some harm to the application. So Datadog was able to detect that, it flagged it, and again, you can set up alerting around that. But we also have sensitive information that was provided, which is not a prompt injection, but I wanted to show you this as well as part of the Trace Explorer. When you open the request, a user provided a credit card number, and Datadog was able to automatically detect that and redact the information and replace it with just a Visa card scanner text. So like that, the PI information is not exposed in the Datadog platform. And this is and so that was done automatically with SDS. So this is all for the Trace Explorer. So with this, as you can see, it's pretty easy to filter through all the interactions that are happening with your LLM application. It's also easy to filter down the information to what you're specifically looking, like whether it is for a quality evaluation or security evaluation, or maybe you want to drill down by duration to try to find your slowest interaction that happened in the past. You can all do this from this view. The next thing I want to show you is our cluster view. So this is another powerful view. You see a lot of dots on the UI here, but every dots are essentially an interaction that happened. So it's a trace or a span in this case. And in this case, I'm filtering down by the trace input. I'm trying to understand which request or topic took the most token to be processed. So which one were the most expensive? Because I'm trying to save cost, right? So and I sort it by color, because in the color in this case means it will mean the purplish more, like the most pink, I would say, the least token it took to process, and the darker blue, the most token it took to process. So this is filtering down by the last week of data, and I can see that the topics which were categorized by Datadog automatically, the topics that are taking the most token to process are all the production, mostly all the production related inquiries. So you have Spanish new product inquiry, you have product information query here. So these are the bluer dots on the UI. So this would tell me that this categorization, so the product inquiry process, the workflow that I was showing you, would be the one to focus first on optimizing the token. So maybe the system prompt is too long. If you wanted to drill down in a specific trace related to this is one of the dots I clicked on. It will load the whole trace behind it and gives you the information behind it. Again, it's loading. Yeah. So in this case, you get the same information, the same view that you get from the Trace Explorer. In this case, it's in context of my the cluster investigation I was doing. Other thing you can see, other than total token use, is also related to the security detection that you've done. So if you wanted to find the topics which gets the most input toxicity, or the ones with which the application is generating toxicity from the interaction, you can filter by that. You can also go with the quality evaluations, which you can filter down by the topics which result in the most failures to answer. And you also have operational, which is one that we were looking at, the total tokens. But we also have the error status, input size, the duration. So you could find the topics that takes the longest to process. So this is just another view from the Trace Explorer P95 boxes that you saw earlier. So so now that we looked at the cluster, this is all I wanted to show you from a demo perspective. Now let's look into how Swagbot is instrumented.
Yes, please.
So before I dive into this, I just want to share that the Swagbot source code. So what I'm showcasing today will be shared at the end of the session. There's going to be a QR code for you to scan, and will bring you to a repo, a partner repo, which I put together for you, and we'll go over that a little bit later.
Okay.
So Swagbot. Before we talk about Swagbot, actually, I wanted to say, if you want to get started with LLM Observability, you can leverage auto instrumentation, and you do not need to have the agent to start reporting your data to Datadog. So you can, with a simple command like running your, let's say in this case, Swagbot is written in Python. You can use our DD tracer, which is a SDK that will essentially instrument your application and start reporting. At first, with that only command, it will start reporting the LLM's trace to Datadog. And then if you wanted to, in the case that you want to start using the agent, you can remove this this command, and then the data will be reported to the agent directly. This is with auto instrumentation. This is what we're utilizing for Swagbot. So we use auto instrumentation to instrument the LLM span, and everything you saw on the Datadog UI is automatically generated by Datadog, meaning what is in the LLM span. In the case that you want to see all the other span, like with the proper span type, like workflow, retrieval, tool, those were the types we saw. Then you need to do some decorator, which will be the next slide. And then if you do not want to use the auto instrumentation, or if you wrote your code in something different than Python and Node.js, you can use in-code instrumentation, which is essentially an SDK, and this is like a model agnostic. So you can if you develop your own model, or if you use a model for a provider that we don't support, you can use the SDK and report all the ins and outs and the information you want to data with that. In the case that you wrote the code into a language different than Python or Node.js, we also have the LLM Observability API, which is essentially an API that data will accept, and you can report from any language to that. So you could even write a script to generate the data in Datadog. So this gives you a lot of flexibility into how to implement LLM Observability. In the resource that I will share with you, there is documentation in there that will give you all the platforms we support, all the languages supported. You can go a little bit look at that a little bit later. So like I mentioned, with Swagbot, we have we are seeing like the agent span, the agent span, the categorization, the workflow, the tool, and the task span. So this is essentially by adding the decorator into your code just above the method. Node.js has a similar process, which is pretty straightforward. So once you've done that, the ins and outs are already captured of the method, and then it will just be categorized properly into the LLM Observability product. So now let's wrap up. So why using Datadog for LLM Observability? So first of all, as you've seen, you get end-to-end visibility into what's happening with your application. So it's really easy to identify what's the root cause. But on top of that, if you're not able to figure it out, you also have broader observability data. So you saw like the APM data, you saw the infrastructure data, we saw networking related information, all really accessible without switching context. You don't have to go in different tools to figure out what happened at that moment. You can all get that from Datadog. We also have built-in quality evaluation. So our team, like Datadog, spend a lot of time into optimizing those evaluation prompts for you to basically turn on a flag and start detecting those quality or security issues that you see today. But we also support multiple framework and platforms. So we support like Vertex AI, Gemini, LangChain, and other ones. So we keep investing in that product. So we're developing more and more support for this product. So I mentioned earlier that we had our customer conference called Dash early this month. We introduced new features in LLM Observability. I didn't show them to you today, as I didn't instrument my app to be able to do it yet. It's in progress, but I still wanted to mention it. So we have a concept called experiment with dataset. So if you remember in the demo, I showed you the ins and outs that went to the model, the prompt. So with that, you're able to export all the production data. So let's say you saw that you had hallucination or a failure to answer or some quality issue with your prompt. You can export all that information that happened in production, create a data set, and then you can use Datadog to optimize your prompt, select different model types to try to optimize your application and determine the best outcome. So with this tool, you can really focus on, like, if your priority is to get accuracy or maybe a slower duration, like less processing time, or you want to optimize your cost, you can go and filter down on what's important for you, and that will give you the best combination. So the best model and system prompt combination outcome of that. The next product I want to show you is the AI agentic monitoring. That just came out. So this is basically it shows you what I showed you today. But today our Swagbot was really more of a single agent, right? But in agentic monitoring, we have multiple agents interacting together, and there are a lot of things happening within that agent, right? Those agents. So with Datadog, you're able to gain full visibility to what's happening with your agentic infrastructure, and you're able to understand which tools were being used inside within it, what was the input and output of each agent process, and so forth. So the view will be very similar to what you saw today with Swagbot, but in the agentic context. So in this case, you can see on the screen there are multiple agents talking to each other, so you really understand how the transaction was processed across all agents. And so we support LangChain, Crew AI, and more. This just came out, so we're still developing more support for this. So if you're interested in any of these two products, you can sign up for a preview. It's not generally available yet, but it's easy to request access to it, especially since you guys are all in the AI space. It will take a sec to get access to it. So with that, Datadog supports almost every stage of LLM development lifecycle. So whether you're in the development stage where you can use the LLM chain tracking, so you don't have you can really understand what you're doing within your development and where the issue is. We have you can iterate your application by using the dataset experiment tool I just showed you, but also you can understand where you're lacking quality, or maybe you have security exposure with the evaluations. But once you have that your application in production, you can easily monitor it. So in this case, you can create dashboards that will give you a visibility into like, am I getting more hallucinations? Maybe you have the cluster that can help you troubleshoot like real production data and see how your application is doing, and maybe help you optimize your application with that. So as promised, this is the QR code that will give you access to many things, including the Swagbot source code. I took care of like including all our documentation links in there. You have implementation guides, you have learning resources. There's a link to access our LLM Observability free trial. On top of that, you'll also get access to the rest of the platform. So that gives you 14 days to play around with Datadog. You'll also, if you need more time, contact our. You'll have an account executive that can work with you on that. The next thing is we have, since you guys are all startups, there's also an offer that we want to put out there. There's you can sign up today to essentially get a free Datadog Pro license for 1 year, and that gives you up to 100K in credits. But on top of that, since you're a startup, we want to grow with you. We want to make you successful with Datadog. So we will have a customer success team aligned with you, and you also have access to technical enablement sessions, which can help you get better with Datadog and help you really observe and make your application more stable.
Go put that back.
So this is all. I'm going to put the link. I just want to show the link below the other link. So that will be all for me. I'll just put this QR code again because the first QR code includes also the startup information that I just showed after. So if you want to have some time here to capture this, and I'll share the link with the team here so you guys can have access to that. So thank you, everyone.
Amazing, Alessandro.
Right.
Thank you so much.
I got a meeting in 8 minutes, but
awesome.
that was a good overview.
We have some really good questions here, so I'm just gonna scroll back and find some of them. Okay, I'm
gonna speed up for the last
we're gonna
of
do
it.
questions, or are we gonna do slides? Which one? Slides? Slides. All right. I wanted to do questions. These are good questions. Fine, we'll do slides. The Google Cloud for Startups program. Datadog just introduced their startups program. That seems really amazing. You should absolutely go out and take advantage of that. Google Cloud also has a program for startups. So this is the beginning of your relationship with Google Cloud. Our entire job here in the startup team is to help create success in partnership with you with Google Cloud. And this is where that relationship starts. So go here, sign up. We give you credits so you can learn about GCP. You can run your agents, you can run your models, but the credits are really only part of the value. The real value is the relationship we start to create with you and your startup. And that means you get an account representative, you get access to our customer engineers, you get access to our architects and our AI experts, and a whole lot of help and go to market and a lot of other things. So please do sign up here, and take advantage of that, because we really want to help you on your startup journey be successful. Okay. The Agent AI handbook. This is really great source if you want to sit down and read a little bit more slowly and carefully what's going on here with agents. It's got a lot of great definitions, a lot of great predictions about the world, where the world is going, a lot of great things about agents. So definitely go to this URL, grab this handbook, read it. It's a terrific source for information on agents. All right. I got a lot of questions last time. Last event over email. I do try and return all the emails I get and answer them personally, but I do get a lot. So if I can't get back to you immediately, please join our Discord. It's a great place to go. There's Googlers there, and there's people who can answer your questions and help out. So it's a really great community for you to join and get your questions answered. I would love to answer every single email personally, but it takes me a while to do that. So please join the Discord community and get help there. So our next event is tomorrow, and it is deploying your agents with confidence. So how do we get these things out in the real world? How do we scale them? So you've got your MVP, and you get it out there in the world, and you've got your product market fit, and everything's going really great for you. And you're starting to get customers, and you're starting to get traction. How do I scale these things? How do I make it big? How do I go from 100 users to 1,000 users to 10,000 users to 1,000,000 users, right? And that's going to be tomorrow's class. So please do come. It's going to be very interesting and amazing, and I can't wait to see you there. Okay, yeah, I've sent it to. Okay, are we going to do Q&A now? Yes. No. I can do something like entertaining.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Like a joke. No. All right.
All right. I think that's that. Let me see if we go live. They supposed to be.
What logic is used to determine the occurrence of hallucinations? So that is a very good question.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you report, okay, so when you instrumented your app with, and you'll see this in the source code I shared. So when you report your traces to Datadog as part of the LLM processing, you can annotate essentially the span with context information. So in this case, in the Spikebot, I included the prompt that I provided to my model to generate the answer. So with that, Datadog is able to look at the context information, the output of the model, and determine that there's hallucination. So in this case, like the case I showed you was
AI
we were missing the price
monitoring
into
AI.
The product object, and that's why there was an hallucination. So you can make the context the way you want. Like if you use like a Vertex database, you'll have really more specific information. In this case, I had my the system prompt, which still works for the purpose of the demo.
Great. Okay, so that's a really important point. When we talk about hallucinations in this context, what we're talking about is deviation from our ground truth, from our evals, right? And grounding can be a lot of different things. You can set up your own grounding data set and say, okay, this is my truth for my company or my use case. You can ground on Google search. You can have a judge model that is grounded on Google search or grounded on truth to judge your agent model. So there's lots of different ways to set up evaluations in Vertex AI and then get that data with Datadog. So hallucinations in and of themselves are not something you say, oh, that's a hallucination. They are deviations from your ground truth data set. So you set up a data set that is your grounding, and whatever that is, you then judge the deviations from. So there's no magic here. We're doing what needs to be done as far as detecting when a model goes off and does something it's not supposed to do. But that's how you do it. You set up your evals. You have a way to determine how close to your evals are, and then your evals are grounded in one way or another, and then as you get hallucinations, those are detected and quantified. Okay. I'm curious to know what the typical debugging process entails. Could you provide an example, perhaps related to latency, and demonstrate how your tool can assist identifying the root cause of the issue? Great question. Latency. How do I find it?
Can we show my screen real quick on that? I just want to show it in live. Cool, thank you. So debugging process means we detected something or not, right? In the case that with data you can set alerting around latency,
Right.
based on the data that's reported to Datadog. In the case that you haven't set alerting, you can come to the trace explorer. We also saw that in overview, but I'll show you this use case here, where you can look at the slowest traces, right? From that, it will filter down all the traces that took the longest time to process. So in this case, you have this request that took 16 seconds, 16 minutes to process, and from there you can see like which spans were the longest in the trace. You can also use our APM tool to do that. Like once you dive into APM, you can look at all the spans and how long they each took to process.
Let me see
So this is
this
one way
link
to
he
do
gave us.
this.
Does this take you to?
But yeah, so that's a way to do it from with
I
Datadog.
want to sign up
Cool.
too for
Okay.
because they have the
Question three.
startup program and
With
it's a year.
Datadog
A year of
LLM
Datadog is like really
observability,
good.
how can I determine
DTDG.
whether my large language model is generating correct or high quality outputs? So we kind of already talked about
Mhm.
correct. How about high quality?
Get
Um,
started. Free trial. Get
so high
started.
quality,
Learning
I would.
resources. Oh
It's
yeah.
a good
Okay.
question. I
Everything
know.
is in
So
here.
in the
Perfect.
documentation, we have different type of evaluations that we support. I'm not too familiar with them. I would redirect people to the documentation on this case. So I
Let me
think from if
bookmark
I think about
this.
like correct answers, we have the hallucinations. The high quality one would be the out of the box evaluations would give you some information there.
This
But besides that,
is
I'm not
one,
too sure about it.
two,
I'm sorry
three,
about
four.
the
Well,
lack of
no,
answer
no,
here.
Is it week
no, not at all. I
three?
mean,
Yeah.
a
I
couple
think
of
it's
good
session
approaches. First of all, you can
6.
have your high quality data set.
Yep.
So again, our evals are going to go against our ground truth. Another approach, there's two more sophisticated approaches here.
Cloud.
One is a trajectory analysis. So instead of just answering the question, how far off from a particular answer is semantically that my response from the
1,
LLM is, you can
2,
judge how close the model's trajectory going towards the answer is. So
3.
what you have is a reasoning data set, and then you have
Yeah,
a
this is
reasoning
6.
model, and then you judge how good is the model working towards the right answer, and then you can tighten that and get your model better and better
Yep.
to get the right trajectory towards reasoning.
It makes me
And
think about
yeah, go ahead, please,
It makes me
please.
think about the last the second the first product
Okay, I
I
got a
showed
meeting.
in my slide.
I gotta go for my meeting, but I think on Friday I plan on Friday I want to sit down and just pretty much co-work for the day. I want to go through the sessions I missed from this week. So, in these 3 sessions I think are the most like critical for me right now anyway. Um the agent development kit, they did that in the last session yesterday. So, actually setting up the agents with agent development kit, then I'm going to try to go through this again and then set up like some Datadog observability, or at least look through the example that he gave. And then tomorrow they're going to do deployment, like basically managing in production. So that'll be good too. So yeah, on Friday I plan on like kind of back to back going through that content and working through some different activities. So I appreciate y'all for being here, but I really got to go. I'm like 2 minutes late for a meeting. Um, but I have some stuff working and I have some projects like that are actively in development. So some of these like practical tools are really, really important for me. So I'll be doing like a lot more LLM instrumentation over the next week or so. And as much of that as I can document, I will. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a good project that I don't mind sharing like all the source code from, that as I'm going through and setting a bunch of this stuff up, you could be privy to what's going on the back end. So yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all on Friday. If not, yeah, just follow. Feel free to come join. We'll probably be having a new schedule in July because I'm going to be teaching, but that also means I'm going to have new courses out and things that people can take advantage of. I'll be teaching Python and a Python certification if you are interested, and learning more about like building machine learning applications and things like that. So I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Bye.